Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and I posted a video earlier today of tarot cards from my deck, the Healing Tarot, and a bunch of people have been posting screen captures of the cards they got, and I figured that it might be easier for me to explain to you using a live Facebook Live video about the meanings of the cards than to try to write a whole bunch of answers. So I figured I would talk about that. So I'm just going to see if I can figure out how to get, somehow I'm still trying to understand how to, okay. There we go. Okay, I think I just figured out how to see comments and things like that. So anyway, if you have any comments or you want to go back, if you look on Modern Medicine Lady LLC, my Facebook page, there is a video that I posted earlier today that is all 78 of the tarot cards from my deck, the Healing Tarot. And what you can do is just hit play and then do a screen capture. You'll get a card. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the meanings of all of these cards. But before I do that, I just want to tell you about my deck. So the Healing Tarot deck is a photographic tarot deck that I created back in the 80s and 90s, back when I was a young whippersnapper. And the idea behind the deck was that every single card is not a fixed meaning. It's not that there's one definite way that it's going to be about, as much as that each card in the tarot has a lesson to teach us, and that there is a process that we can go through to really come to understand what it is to really live through that experience. And when we embrace every single tarot card and are willing to do the work that it takes to understand the life lesson that the card has, then we can become more whole, we can become more complete, we can become more fulfilled. And hi Shannon, it is so good to see you. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk a little bit about the cards. So the very first card that somebody saw was the Magician card. And it just so happens that the Magician card is actually one of my signature cards in numerology. It represents me personally. And the Magician is in the image of the Magician. I've got my deck right here, and so I'm just going to see if I can find him and pull him out. But the Magician card is all about what we can imagine, what we can conceive in our mind, we can bring into form and manifestation. So the core of the Magician card is intention, and the ability to get clear about our intent and clear about our vision, and from that to be able to manifest our goals. Now in the classic image of the Magician card, you can see that the Magician has one hand down and one hand up, and the statement is, as above, so below. There's also the lilies, the white lilies, which represent purity, and the red roses, which represent desire. So it's this idea of we mix that purity of intention with the passion and the desire to make things happen. The other thing about the Magician is that the Magician takes the energy of the four elements of air, which would be our ideas and our thoughts, fire, which is our strategy and our action, water, which is our intuition, our desire, and our emotional intelligence, and earth, which is the resources that we have available in order to bring our visions, our dreams, our desires, our intentions into form. And by starting from that place of possibility, that place of the dream, and then using our thoughts, our actions, our desire, and our resources, we can bring it into reality. But then the fifth point of the Magician is spirit, and that is about turning it over to that divine source, so that we go through, we do all of the actions we are capable of doing. We focus on the idea, we create the vision in our mind, we take the actions, we feed it with our desire, we use the resources we have available to fuel it and to cobble it together, and then we turn it over to higher source and let the universe take the idea and run with it. And that is the way I look at the Magician card. Now, there was a question from somebody else around the Magician card, which was, hey there, Clarice, good to see you. So there was a question with the Magician card, which was, what if I don't have an intention? What if I don't have an idea? And what I would say is, start with what you know. Start with even the smallest little glimmer of possibility and hope about what you desire and what you are wanting. And from that idea and that possibility, then you can manifest your goals and manifest your dreams. But even it's like if you just start with that teensy tiny little thing, it's like, and if I was tapping on this, which of course, if you know me, I'm always tapping, I would probably be saying something like, even though I'm not totally clear what my intention is, the one thing that I do know is, and you just own what you already know. Start there and then move forward from that. So that is the Magician card. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the Magician behind me since we've already talked about him, and we're going to move to the next card that came up, and that was the Four of Wands. Now, the Four of Wands, in my experience when I'm doing fortune telling with people, where I've been doing readings, has often come up around households and homes and creating and manifesting our home. But I also see it as very much about, in order to move forward, we must celebrate what we have already accomplished. When we can recognize where we have come from and what we have achieved already, that becomes sort of the four pillars or the cornerstones of our possibilities for the next step. But there's a way in which I think the Four of Wands, because the image that I use for the Four of Wands is of a chuppah for marriage. So it's very much this idea of, we are bringing our community together, we are bringing our resources together, we are coming together to start something new and amazing and exciting, but we are also pausing in this container, in this place, and celebrating what already is in order to be ready to move forward to the next step. So this is the Four of Wands. I called it the celebration card. And wands correlate with fire. So fire is associated with action, with strategy, with moving forward, with will, and taking a step. And fours are considered sort of one of the most stable numbers in numerology. So the 4 is a point of pause before we're ready to move forward into something. And so when the Four of Wands comes up, I see it as very much create a container in which we can acknowledge and celebrate what is and what we have accomplished and done, and then move forward after we have taken that pause and gotten nourished by the accomplishments and the acknowledgement of what we've actually done. So that's the Four of Wands. Okay, so now the next card that came up for somebody was the Son of Wands. And the Son of Wands, I see the Son of Wands as he is sort of the fire of fire. He is the action-oriented person in the world. He is somebody who is all about moving forward, taking action. One of the things that I have found about the Son of Wands is that the lesson for me in the Son of Wands is about not trying to force or control a situation as much as allowing it to come to fruition and to do what it wants to do. That the Son of Wands has a certain kind of playfulness within him, and and if you try to contain him, he's kind of like, when it comes to relationships, the Son of Wands, when it comes up around relationships, I find that he is the one where it's like, if you hold your hand open and you allow for space, the Son of Wands will come and sit in your hand, kind of like sand. But as soon as you try to grip it or clench it or control it, the Son of Wands will go right through your fingers. And so there's a way in which that Son of Wands is really about how we can allow that energy to exist in our lives without trying to squelch it, without trying to control it, without trying to contain it. And that can be a really hard thing, especially when it comes to relationships, because a lot of us want to have a sense of certainty, and yet this is very much the Son of Wands. Now, interestingly, he's also all about, you know, chasing the thrill, finding the excitement, going after the dream. And in some ways, the idea of the only thing that can contain fire is fire, that old way of when there would be a field fire or something like that, you would create a ring of fire around the fire, and the two fires would meet and consume themselves. So there's very much this process of, hey there, Karini, and hi, Amanda and Anne and Courtney. Great to see all of you guys. So I really think that the Son of Wands is really a lesson about the relationship to boundaries and containment, and that sometimes when we try to create too much of a container, the fire is going to burn out. So, and I think the Son of Wands is also a reminder to play, to have fun, to go on adventures. Okay, so Chan got the Magician, and who is not on this, I don't think she's watching this right now, I can't see her, but and she was the one who had asked, you know, what do you do when you don't know what the path is? And as I was saying before, I think that the key to what do you do when you don't know what the path is that you just start with what you know. You start with that glimmer of hope, that glimmer of possibility, and wait, and just, you know, start like, if you have any creative spark in you or creativity, what I think can be really helpful is just start with, you know, a box of crayons and a piece of paper, and just play and see where it carries you. It's amazing what can happen as we just keep on playing. So Jimmy Stratus got the Ace of Pentacles, and I had already commented about how the Ace of Pentacles is very much about that seed of possibility. It is the first cornerstone of manifestation. It's about laying down the groundwork for our visions. It is the earth, it is sort of the cardinal or the primary form of earth. The Ace of Pentacles is all about bringing things into form and manifestation by planting those seeds, by laying down the foundation, by laying down the cornerstone. And I happen to know that in this particular case, because Jimmy had made a comment about that they are actually in the process of reading business plan books when they pulled that card, and it really reinforced that idea of start. Put down the seeds, put down the foundation, make it happen. So that is just so incredibly exciting. And if you are watching this and you feel like jumping over, if you haven't already pulled a card yourself, you can go jump over and do that. I don't know if anybody has left any comments. I'm not seeing comments yet, but if you feel like leaving a comment and letting me know, and or if you want to leave a comment in this video, I can respond to it later. So here is the Ace of Pentacles, the manifestation card, and it's very much about taking that raw form, those raw seeds of possibility, and planting them with intention, with desire, with hope, with possibility. And I also just really want to acknowledge that the power of manifestation happens when we plant the seed and we let go. When we still need to water it, we still need to do the things that need to happen to make it come into fruition. We can't just like leave it in dry ground. We do need to make effort, but it's this dance of plant the seed, water it, nurture it, nourish it with love, and let it go, and trust the process and the way that it is going to unfold for the highest and greatest good. And instead of thinking about the how, it's so incredibly important. Instead of thinking about the how, what we want to be thinking about is the sense of what is it going to feel like for this to come into fruition? what is it going to feel like for this to exist in the world? So the feeling of manifesting it. And I'll give you an example of that. I am actually in the process of building a new building for my business and for my teaching. And it's a project that's been going on for a while, and today I finally got the green light, which is why I'm actually sharing this information. And I am like choked up just to even be able to say this publicly. But I've had this vision of my baby friend Ben, who's only 1 right now, and I keep having this vision of him when he is 3, running circles in the upstairs temple space. I can see him vividly, and I can feel his joy, and I can feel his delight, and I can feel how safe he feels in that space, and how excited he feels in that space, and how happy he is to be in that space. And that is the feeling that I have about this. So I'm not necessarily getting caught up in what color the couch is going to be, and exactly where I'm going to go buy light fixtures, and how this, that, and the other thing is going to happen, as much as it's about feeling into the energy of what it is going to be like for this thing to come into manifestation. So that is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Next card, Amanda. Yay, Amanda. So the Moon card. The moon has a lot to do with the stuff that is buried under the surface, that is buried in the deep subconscious. It's about the dream time. It's about the information that is coming up from our dreams. Sometimes I find that the moon is also about our lunar cycles and about what's going on with our hormones and what is happening with our body, and really recognizing how our emotions are affecting our body, how our emotions are affecting our whole experience, and really honoring and owning what is buried underneath the surface as a way to and bringing it up out from the depths, because the moon card traditionally has sort of the dark moon. It's got all, in my card, it's got all the phases of the moon, and we've got the full moon, we've got the crone over here, and we've got the maiden over here. So we've got, she's the waxing moon, she's the waning moon, she's the full, and then the new moon is kind of buried down in the depths. And it's very much about what is really going on underneath the surface, what is making me tick, what am I feeling that I may not even be able to articulate, and start in the body, or start in the dreams, or start in those almost unnameable feelings that are going on, and start tugging at the string that is attached to them, and sort of tease out the meanings, tease out the understanding, so that you can bring it up into the light, and then use all of that buried, deeply creative, deeply powerful lunar energy, that deep emotional energy, to be able to create and manifest what it is that you want to manifest. So Amanda, if you can give me a thumbs up or give me a heart and let me know if that makes sense to you, that would be great. I'm still trying to figure out how to, good Lord, you would think with all of my experience that I would know how to like see comments and stuff like that, but for some reason I'm kind of like clueless. Do I go this way? Oh, okay. Now I can see that. Yay, I just figured it out. Okay. So that is the moon. And please, okay, Clarice, you got the 5 of Wands. Okay. Hey there, Amanda. Oh, Karini got the devil. Yes, Amanda, yours was the moon. Yay. Okay. So awesome. Okay, I finally figured out how to actually see so that you guys are actually able to make comments and I can read them. It only took me, I don't know how many minutes. Well, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the 5 of Wands because I just saw that from Clarice. So the 5 of Wands, in my experience, is about finding our place in community. It is about that sort of energy of musical chairs. And there are two ways we can live in the world. We can live from a place, well, there's probably more than two ways we can live in the world. But what I find is that often we can either be in a place of competition and imagining that there is not enough to go around, kind of that there's not quite enough. Oh, you're so welcome, Amanda. That there is not quite enough to go around, and that we have to, we have to struggle in order to have the space, versus trusting that there really is enough for all of us, and that we can share, that we can collaborate, that we can create something much better in community and together, as opposed to in the struggle. And I think that the beginning of it even starts with the idea of entering into the conversation with the idea that we are going to be in a positive dialogue with each other, that we are going to be in a place of possibility with each other, and that we can trust each other to have the highest good, as opposed to going in on our guard. And I am seeing your name, and it is a beautiful name. I'm assuming it is Celtic, and I'm not going to, your last name is Laird. So I'm not going to mutilate your name because it looks too beautiful for my American accent to destroy it. So I apologize. And I actually talked about Ace of Pentacles earlier, but Ace of Pentacles is very much, and I will get to imprisonment in a moment, but Ace of Pentacles is very much, in my opinion, about the point of time in your life where it's time to plant your seeds to manifest your vision. And that this is in many ways sort of the green light card that's saying, you go girl, you have the ability to do this, it's time to make it happen, and go for it, make it happen, do it up. So that, hopefully that makes sense. If you want to give me a thumbs up and let me know if that does make sense, or give me a question if there's sort of like, yes, that kind of makes sense, but it doesn't totally make sense, that would be awesome. So Clarice, anyway, in terms of this particular card, the Five of Pentacles is about going from that sense of walking in thinking there's not enough and thinking we're going to enter into a conflict, to walking in with the desire to make it be the smoothest, easiest, gentlest, most like dynamic, creative, amazing, fun process possible. So it's so much about walking in with the frame that we can collaborate as opposed to compete. Okay, so now, Anne, you got imprisonment. And if I do remember correctly, because it's been a little while since I have looked at the words on the top of my deck, you'd think I would know by heart by now, considering that this deck has been in existence for this deck has been in existence since I published it in 1996. I did a limited edition run. If you are curious, prints are available for sale, and I will post a link below for where you can purchase prints for the deck at Society 6, but the actual deck right now is no longer available for purchase because I did a limited edition run of it. And if a publisher wants to come along and offer me money and say, hey, we'd love to publish your deck again, have at it, people. Get in touch with me. Okay, imprisonment. So, Anne, imprisonment, and Shaunalee, I will be in touch with you shortly, and Courtney, I will be in touch with you shortly too. So, Eight of Swords, in my personal experience, is about the way that our experiences from the past are affecting our perception of right now. That is almost always what I have found to be the case. That our mind, that our mind has a way of staying connected to experiences we've had, and when something vaguely resembles an experience that we had, we attach and overlay all kinds of emotions that are, Wendy, if you know of a publisher who wants to republish, I'd be thrilled, but I will not self-publish it again. So, I mean, seriously, if anybody knows of a publisher who wants to put it out into the world, I would be thrilled to put it back out there. So, just saying. But I will say that the self-publishing route for a tarot deck is brutal. Trying to collate 1,000 decks, not a good time. So, and hopefully that is making sense. But it's very much about saying, in some ways, we become imprisoned by experiences that happened to us that are still basically driving our bus. And what's hopeful about this card is that it's saying it's not about what's going on right now, it's that we are having a disproportionate reaction because of things that have occurred to us and that we are still carrying with us. I actually love this card. This is one of the cards that I've done a lot of work with and around, and I find it incredibly helpful because this card gives us that information that we can set ourselves free. Because the thing is, all the swords are down in the ground. None of them are attacking her. The attack is done. She's just bound up because of the way her mind is still thinking. And when she recognizes that the swords have, she's out of danger, there is a point at which she's going to be able to shake herself loose from those cords that are wrapped around her, and where she is going to be able to take that blindfold off and see what is really going on. So I love this card. This card is so powerful. It is such a vital card, and especially, I'm going to say it, for highly sensitive empathic women, especially if you have any kind of experience or history of abuse in the past, this card is so important for our healing process, because it's about recognizing that we are no longer in danger and that we can set ourselves free when we recognize that we are not experiencing the threat that we used to experience. So I love this card. Okay, and thank you, Wendy. Okay, let me just see. Okay. Okay, I spoke to E. Laird about Pentacles. Shannon, you got Daughter of Wands. So, Daughter of Wands is the heir of fire. The way I work with the court cards is that each one of them, so all of the pages or daughters are air, which is communication and mental thought, thought. And then in the wand suit, which is fire, that would be the air of fire. That would be the articulation and the expression of your intentions and your actions. And so, knowing a little bit about what you are going through right now, I would say that this is really an invitation to take some time to get really, really clear about your intentions and your actions, and to really take the time to write down your action plan, to take the time to clarify and to really put the strategy down on paper and do some journaling and really think about how can you express your motives, how can you express your actions, how can you express your strategy, and really take advantage of the energy of this Daughter of Wands to really express what it is that you are wanting to create, and thinking in terms of fire not only as action but as creativity. That ambition is that combination of intention and action, and that combination of expression, articulation, and strategy. So that is, and I know that with what you are addressing right now, it seems to me that this is another example of the energy is there. Sometimes things take longer than we want them to. I can certainly attest to that, as you can probably see from the videos I've been recording for the last few days. And the possibilities are amazing when we trust that we are getting guidance from the universe, that things are going to work in our favor. So that is the Daughter of Wands. Okay, and Clarice, you are so welcome. Okay, Shaunalee got the Daughter of Pentacles. Now, the Daughter of Pentacles is the expression or the mindset, the air of earth. And I find that the Daughter of Pentacles is very much about asking for what you need. And really, instead of, one of the challenges, I think, for the Daughter of Pentacles, and I think this is something that happens for a lot of us, is waiting for somebody to imagine or understand what it is that we need and we want, hoping somebody will recognize that we are hungry, hoping that somebody is going to understand that we have something that we need. And the Daughter of Pentacles, is her life lesson is about being able to express and articulate what it is that she wants and needs. Now, the shadow side of the Daughter of Pentacles is when she does not express herself clearly, or when she does not speak openly and ask directly, but instead either sort of kind of passively tries to take things, or sort of does things in a very underhanded kind of passive aggressive way. And so there's two ways to be in entitlement in the world. There is the sense of entitlement that we have when we know that we are beloved children of this universe, that we are worthy of love, that we are worthy of light, that we are worthy of support and energy. And then there's that entitlement that's more about, I'm entitled to take whatever I want because fuck all y'all. And so I think that the Daughter of Pentacles message is about recognizing our inherent worth, our deepest inherent value as children of this universe, as beloved children of divine source, and knowing that we are worthy of asking. Now, the other thing with the Daughter of Pentacles is that it's about putting it out there to the universe and asking, and letting go of an investment in where it's going to come back to us. Because sometimes the challenge with the Daughter of Pentacles is that we have this idea of exactly where something's going to be coming from. And the thing about the Daughter of Pentacles is that it's about putting it out to the universe almost as an invitation, as a possibility of saying, this is what I am needing, and then allowing it to come back to us from whatever source the universe sees fit, but not necessarily trying to go after this one person, because that may or may not be the best way for us to get our needs met. So that is what I will tell you about the Daughter of Pentacles right now. Okay, so Courtney, you got the Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups is the heart of the heart. It is the water, it is like the core of our emotional truth and our emotional being. It is a place of deepening an awareness of ourselves. It can be the beginning of new relationships. It can be the beginning of new possible creative projects and endeavors. It can also be embarking on an emotional journey to really know yourself even better, and to really dive into what is your truth at a much, much deeper level than you've ever gone before. And what's making you tick? Like really, really recognizing and owning your feelings, your truth, and seeing how your heart is driving your bus, seeing how your feelings are being expressed through you and what you are doing. So I think that the challenge with the Ace of Cups is when we are not able to express or articulate what we are going through and what's going on for us. And for especially when people are like, for example, water signs like Pisces, I've noticed that sometimes Pisces have a really hard time articulating, and Cancers especially can have a really hard time articulating what they're feeling, because the feelings are so intense they don't even come out as words. So this card is an invitation to contemplate the emotions, to sit with the emotions, and to be present with the feelings until we have the ability to understand them at a deeper level. The other thing about this card is that it's about the container, about the idea that recognizing what our personal emotional limits are, what our boundaries are, and honoring our own personal boundaries as opposed to being cupless and flowing into whatever container is available or will receive us. So it's also about really knowing what our limits are and creating our own safety, our own container, so that we're not always dependent on what somebody else's limits are for us. So hopefully that makes sense. Man of Pentacles from Michaela. Okay. So the Man of Pentacles, he is the earth of earth. He is basically like we have gone through, we've taken all the steps, we've had the plan, we've created the strategy, we've taken the action, we've fed it with our desire, and now we are going to take this energy and we are going to bring it into form. That it's time to really make it real. And the Man of Pentacles is the security card. Security in the sense of sometimes something is really a sure thing. And sometimes the best thing we can do is trust that it is what it is, that it is there. Now, this is more of an emotional example, but I think it fits, is that if you've ever been in a relationship where you just know that the relationship is a good relationship and it's going to last, there's this ability to settle into it. Or if you have ever had a situation where you received something and you just knew it was yours, and you could settle into that ownership and that sense of, this is mine, I trust that it's mine. There's a way in which it becomes effortless, and as a result of that sense of ease, that we know it's safe, it's in our hands, it is secure, then it allows for so many more possibilities. And I think that the piece of this Man of Pentacles is that he gives us this ability to trust that it's going to be okay, that the universe has our back, and that the resources are available, and we are going to be able to, we're going to get to the other side of whatever the process is. But it starts with that sense of breathing in, like just being able to lie on the earth and feel the ground holding you up, and knowing that you are supported and that you are held and that you are nourished. And Corrine had said a while ago in regards to Eight of Swords that she used to get it all the time and that you can get through it. And Scarlett got the Star. And the Star card is all about divine purification and asking for help. So the Star card is this divine holy light from the heavens that shines down upon us, and we are purified by the star. And the other day I recorded Word of the Day that was unplugged, and I was talking about how sometimes we can get, or I can get into this situation where suddenly adrenaline and will and trying to figure out all the shit on my own is what's running my bus or driving my bus, and then all of a sudden I'll recognize that I have gotten unplugged. and that I am no longer being supported and receiving the energy of the universe because I took myself out of the equation and I have been trying to do it all on my own. And I do not recommend that at all. Really bad idea. The Star card is the reminder that we are part of this universe and that the universe wants the very best for us, and that there is something so exquisite and so wonderful as long as we ask for help. But we must ask for help. We start by, and not just trying to figure it out for ourselves, not just white knuckle our way through things, not just be like, okay, well, I'll let somebody know what's going on when I'm feeling a little less shitty. The Star card is about tuning into the universe and asking it to help us even when we are in our darkest hours, even when we are feeling the most wretched, and allowing ourselves to be nourished, allowing ourselves to be supported, allowing ourselves to be cared for. And so the Star card is a reminder of self-care, but especially the reminder that sometimes self-care is about asking other people to help us, because we can't just do it for ourselves. And to turn to the people that we can trust, to turn to those who have got our back, to turn to the ones who can reflect our highest possibilities and our highest potential back to us and share with us what is possible and hold the faith for us and keep the story going during those times where maybe we really have to step out of that front part of the pack and allow ourselves to just be carried by the momentum of something else. It's thinking about the way geese fly in formation, and that the strongest geese fly at the front to break the wind, and that the weaker geese will go into the middle to be protected and helped by, and pulled by the updraft. And then when the strong leader geese get to a certain point where they're tired, they will fall back into formation so they get support, and then this other strong geese move forward and take over. And the Star card is that reminder of sometimes we got to break out of formation and allow ourselves to be carried by the momentum of the universe, but that this is a beautiful, exquisite, wonderful universe that wants the best for all of us. And our job is to ask for help, and our job is to allow ourselves to receive that support and to do what we can to plug in to that divine connection when we recognize that we've gotten disconnected. So that was a long answer, huh? Okay. Oh, good. I'm so glad that what I said was right on for you, Shannon. Hey there, Emma, if you're still here. Courtney, I hadn't already done the Ace of Cups when you saw that. Yes, Clarice said that. That's next, she thinks. Yes. Emma, of course you got the Daughter of Swords. Of course you did, because you are a writer, and you're a fucking good writer too. So, the Daughter of Swords is inquiry, and the Daughter of Swords is the heir of air. She is all about, and she is literally, her whole message is, the pen is mightier than the sword. And so, she takes her thoughts, and she has this incredible ability to communicate and to articulate and to use her vision and to use her understanding and to follow that guidance and to put it out into the universe. She is always in this state of inquiry and always in this state of curiosity and always the champion for the truth. And so I cannot think of a more perfect card for you than getting the Daughter of Swords. I mean, absolutely. It feels to me like this is such a validation for you of course, what other card could you possibly get than the Daughter of Swords, which is all about being completely, it's like, this is like the card of the writer. And interestingly, the reason The person who's in this card is my friend Leslie, who is a writer, and I chose her specifically because she is a writer, and it was all about that idea of using the sword, using the power of the sword or the power of the pen to fight for what matters to us. That truth has more power than might. So, yay, Emma, of course you got the Daughter of Swords. Couldn't possibly not get the Daughter of Swords. Okay, Karini, I see you were responding to Courtney. Oh, and Shaunalee, you're very welcome. Scarlett, hopefully you heard me just talk about the star, and Michaela, hopefully you heard me talk about the Man of Pentacles. Oh, Courtney, I'm so sorry your grandfather just died. It seems to be a time when a lot of people are stepping off, and that there is so much transformation and transition going on. It feels to me like it's almost like there's this legion of angels that are getting collected right now, and that there's a changing of the guard that is happening. We are gearing up for something remarkable, and I think some people are stepping over so that they can be of more support from the other side than they would be able to be here right now. But I've noticed that there's definitely been a number of people who have been, I've been hearing about just all kinds of transitions and changes and things going on for many people. So Godspeed to your grandfather, and just blessings to him on his journey, and all my love to your whole family as you go through this time. And I just hope that your fond memories of him can bring you comfort in the midst of that grief, because I'm sure it kind of sucks at times. So and so Scarlett, okay, Karini. Okay, Scarlett. So Scarlett, give me a thumbs up, or give me a heart if you're still here and you got the information about the star, because obviously I was really talking about it at length. And then Kareen, the devil, huh? So the devil, in my personal experience, is the truth teller. And the devil is all about when we fight the truth, when we deny what is real, then we are going to express it in wacky ways. You, Kareen, since you've known me for way long, know one of my favorite sayings is we can set boundaries in healthy ways, or we can set boundaries in unhealthy ways, but we're going to set the boundaries. And the devil is all about the boundaries. The devil is all about the truth. The devil is all about, this is what really works for me, this doesn't work for me. And so the devil, when in his true state of pure truth and instinct, is a force to be reckoned with. The devil, before the Christians came in and took over, was the horned god or the green man of ancient European cultures, and he was the man of nature. He was the being that was completely connected to the truth of nature. And when we disconnect from the truth of nature, when we start denying what is real, then he becomes a distorted version of himself. He becomes a mutation of himself, and he starts acting out in ways because he is wounded and he is hurt, and he does not know how to get back to what is necessary and needed. But so I really see the devil card as being all about speaking our truth, owning our limits, recognizing our boundaries, and also seeing where in our life are we denying the true, and is it showing up in the imprisonment of our body, the imprisonment of our mind, the getting ourselves caught up in situations that are not serving us anymore, that are not working for us. And how can we release ourselves from this by either calling a spade and walking away from a situation that is not working for us, or drawing up the strength and courage to express our truth and to let the situation or somebody know what's really going on for us. So, Karini, if you want to give me a thumbs up and let me know if that is making sense for you, and or if you have any questions, that's great. And Michaela, I am so glad that made sense for you with your current situation and that you feel like a weight was lifted. Yay! I'm always so grateful for that. Yay. Oh, awesome. And Emma, yes. And hi, Andrea. Okay. Okay, Stan, whatevs. Okay, Emma. Okay, Karini and Shannon, you are so welcome. Knowledge is the Knight of Swords, the King of Swords. Okay, now I'm just going to go back over here. Let me actually see. Jamie Lynn. Oh yeah, Wendy, you got the back of the card, didn't you? So, yay. Of course, Karine, you're going to work on this and continue to do so. So, Wendy, I think the back of the card is kind of the universe sort of saying, ha ha, you think you know? Sorry, honey, wait and see. I really think the back of the card is like the universe saying it's a big mystery. The answer is not clear yet. We've already given you the information that you needed. And so now you just need to do what is before you and wait for the rest to be revealed. So, and my sense is that it's almost that playful divine mystery of there is a wonderful surprise that is in store. There is something magnificent that is on the way. And we're not going to tell you. It's a surprise. Christmas is not here yet. Courtney, you have a wonderful evening, and please give my love to your whole family. And my condolences too. Okay, so Michelle Kripe, who was not on this live video, at least to my awareness right now. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Definitely, Jon Snow, yes. And now that Jon Snow knows more, he's probably scared shitless. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Nine of Swords that Michelle Kripe, who is not on this video, unless I can't see you, Michelle, unless you are not on this video. So Michelle, I'm going to just tell you about the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords, in my experience, is like, it is the ultimate empath card, just saying. And there is a flower essence that I will actually post the link for, the Amazon link for it, using my Amazon affiliate link for it, for the flower essence red chestnut, which is really good when you are picking up the feelings and the thoughts and the pain and the everything that is going on in the world around you. So in my experience, the Nine of Swords is the card that comes up when we are really overwhelmed by worry about other people. I call it the concern card because it's all about that concern about what is going on in the world around us, to the point that we are losing sleep, to the point that we are awfulizing 24/7, or at least most of the time, and we are really worrying about what is happening, how are people doing, what's going on, and we are getting to the point where our concern for other people is affecting our own health, is affecting our own ability to find serenity and peace. And in my personal opinion, the problem with this card is that we're trying to micromanage it, is that we think we're in charge. And I would say that the solution, the really big fix for this card is this person has a higher power in their life and I am not it. It is not up to me to fix this problem for this person. I can offer support, I can offer suggestions, but the bottom line is that there is something in the universe that is so much greater than myself that is going to be capable of helping and supporting these people. And it is not up to me to figure all this stuff out. So it's very much about that same willingness to surrender to that divine source. And certainly, if you are an atheist, I think that can be a much harder thing. But even as an atheist, the idea that there is a greater intelligence, that there is a greater force of nature, that there is something bigger than ourselves that is capable of taking care of stuff. And really believing and trusting that when somebody is going through a hard time, even if it's an excruciatingly hard time, that they are on their own journey in the same way that when we go through a hard time, we are on our journey, and that it is not our responsibility or job to take somebody's life experience or lesson or process away from them. That in the same way that it is not, I would not want anybody else to stop me from experiencing my life, it is not our responsibility to stop somebody from experiencing theirs. So in my experience, this card really comes up a lot when when our empathic filters are really shot, either because we never had them in the first place or because we are really stressed out and worn down and we've lost the ability to protect ourselves and use our shields. And if you're curious to find out where you fall on the empathy spectrum, you can go to my website, empathicwoman.com, and take my What's Your Empathic Type quiz to find out where you land in terms of how sensitive you really are with your empathy. But when it comes to this particular card, as I was saying, one of the things that I find very helpful is red chestnut as a flower essence by Bach that can really help to let go of some of those concerns and put it in proper perspective. So that is the Nine of Swords. Now, daughter Mercy got the Daughter of Cups, and the Daughter of Cups is all about delight. She is all, oh, thank you, Wendy. The Daughter of Cups is all about delight. The Daughter of Cups is about us cultivating a sense of wonder in the world and maintaining our childlike innocence no matter what. Like that ability to hold on to possibility, to hold on to delight, to hold on to wonder, to hold on to dreams, that even if we've been through hell, that there are those people who have this ability to continue to come back to their optimism, who have the ability to come back to their possibility. And something I heard just recently that I really loved was, it's not whether the glass is half full or half empty, it's the fact that we can fill it up again. And, you know, that trusting in the fact that there is an unlimited supply, and that even if we drink all the water in the cup, there's more water to be had. There's more beauty to be seen. There is more delight. So I would say that especially if you have been getting or having the experience with life where maybe things have been a little stressful, maybe things have been a little bit difficult lately, and you've been feeling somewhat concerned, I would say cultivate play, cultivate wonder, cultivate possibility, cultivate delight, and just really celebrate that joy and that sense of wonder. Yeah, this is one of my favorite cards because it was such a gorgeous day when we shot this card. And she was sitting out on this willow branch that just went out over the water, and the water was just sparkling. And it really was just this deep, deep possibility and sense of wonder and delight and amazingness and just, living in that. And it really is like the articulation of our heart, the air of water. So it's that expression, that creative expression of our emotions. So it's also very much about go make something beautiful, go be creative, make make art, go dance, go do something wonderful, have a blast. Okay, I am on a marathon, aren't I? Okay, so Sybil, I know that you found the... Yes, Karini, I totally did them on film. Not only did I do these cards on film, I did not do one, well, actually, I take that back. There are 2 Photoshop edits in this entire deck. The rainbow in the 10 of Cups was put on after in post-production using Photoshop, and the blurred wheel in the Son of Swords, you can see his wheel is blurring as if he's on a road on the motorcycle. It was a stationary motorcycle, and we made the wheel blur so it looked like it was riding. But those were the only things that were done out of camera. Everything else in this entire deck, I am just so proud and pleased to be able to say, was done with my camera and done like as a single well, not, some were multiple exposures, but were done just on film. It was a labor of love. I mean, it took like 5-6 years. I started in 1989. Okay, 5 years. I started in 1989. I started doing the photographs. I started the concept of it in 88. I started doing the photos of it in July of 89. And then I was completed and done with the last photograph in September, at the end of August, beginning of September of 1994. So, and then I published in 96. So it was quite a process. And what I will also say is when you create a tarot deck, you live through every single card that you create. You get to work it. It is, and it really works you. But it is also a powerful spiritual discipline, and it is life-changing to create a tarot deck. If you are willing to do the work, a tarot deck will purify and cleanse you. The daughters, Jamie, the daughters are actually the pages. So the way I did it is that where you have page, knight, king, queen, page, knight, queen, king, I have daughter, son, woman, and man. So, and Daughter of Swords, I did talk about it earlier. I talked about, and I went on fairly for a while, but the Daughter of Swords is really about the use of our intellect, the use of our inquiry, the use of our curiosity, the use of our ability to express ourselves with enthusiasm, but also with this sort of razor sharp clarity of the sort of the pen is mightier than the sword. So, and also that idea of wit and intelligence is more powerful than might and force. So that especially if you are experiencing something where you might be in some kind of a conflict or a situation where there's something that is not quite working in the way you want it to, using your wit and your intellect and your intelligence and your capacity to reason and your capacity to argue, and I don't mean argue like being a jerk about it or like a kid who's fighting. I mean argue like more like a lawyer, like litigate. That that ability to and sort of that idea of the legal apology, to really access that brilliant reasoning debate as a way to accomplish and achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So does that make sense, Jamie? Do you want to give me a thumbs up and let me know? Awesome. Yay. Thank you. Okay, so Sybil, you looked up Two of Swords, but here it is. Two of Swords is about choices. Two of Swords is about its dominion in the sense of, in order to grow what I want to grow, I have to accept the limitations. It's like, in order for my garden to not get overrun with rabbits and raccoons and groundhogs and deer, who ate all of my Easter lily buds before they could flower. Thank you so much, dear. The Two of Wands is about that idea of, when I create a container, when I create the boundaries of the terms, then I have the ability to grow my empire. Then I have the ability to create what I want to create. That you can see, it's like, here she is. This was actually me many, many, many years ago. But here she is looking at the world. So she has that world view, but she's contained by a wall. And that wall is giving her the protection that she needs in order to manifest her goals. So if you are thinking about starting some kind of a project, or you're looking at a possibility, part of this is about starting with something small, or starting with like accepting the limits of something and not trying to do everything at once, as much as start where you are and create a good solid foundation and container for it, and then allow it to grow from there. So that would be the answer that I would give you for the Two of Wands. Okay. Now the Four of Cups came up for a woman named Claire, and who had posted on that. And the Four of Cups, I call it the hope card, because it's about that sense of possibility, of the things that are not yet apparent, that are sort of dwelling in the dream, that are dwelling in sort of in that realm of spirit still. And taking that time, that quiet space, to meditate, to go inward, and to allow ourselves to feel the possibility, to allow ourselves to receive that sense of what can be. And that sometimes the best way to go about getting that is by going into the quiet, by going into the depths of our heart, and then waiting for the gift to appear. So that would be how I'm going to talk about the Four of Cups right now. Okay, Two of Swords is all about, now Megan Kennedy got Two of Swords, and Two of Swords is all about choice. And again, the Two of Swords is a blindfolded card. And so the thing about the Two of Swords and that idea of being blindfolded is that sometimes we will have the situation where we get so bogged down in our choice and in our fear of making the wrong choice that we are blinded by sort of the conflict, or by the tension between the two ideas. And it's sort of like we've got one voice that's sitting on one side of us and going, you could do this, and then there's a voice on the other side of us saying, you could do that. And it's like between the sound of the sword, the two swords sort of trying to argue for their point or what they want, and the fact that we're blindfolded, we don't necessarily have accurate perspective. And so what I find with the Two of Swords is that it is what I have noticed is that the best thing we can do is decide. Make a decision. It doesn't have to be the best decision. It doesn't have to be the right decision. Because most often, when we make a choice, we can take the blindfold off and we can look with more scrutiny. We can get a feeling for what is going to happen if we opt for this. And if we need to, we can course correct. Because one of the things that I have noticed in my life over and over again is that I often find out what I really want by making a decision and discovering when the decision I make is not what I wanted. Because there will often be that feeling of like, oh, that wasn't the right choice. And then you can change your mind. You can go back. But there's the challenge of this Two of Swords is that anticipation, that getting so caught up in what would happen that we paralyze ourselves from being able to move forward. And so I think the lesson and the message of the Two of Swords is about letting ourselves to acknowledge what we're anticipating, to acknowledge what we're projecting, to acknowledge what we're imagining could happen, but then to let it go and choose one thing or the other. Remove the blindfold so that we can see more clearly, and then proceed from there. So that is the Two of Swords. Okay. Now, Clarice, I spoke to you about the Five of Wands already, and Austin, Comey, and Marie got the manifestation card, which was the Ace of Pentacles, and I have spoken at length about the Ace of Pentacles, so you can just go back to that. But bottom line, planting seeds of new beginnings. Now is the time to make things happen. Let's see what else we've got. Mary Brady got the Fool card. And the Fool, the Fool is about that divine innocence, that willingness to take the leap, that idea of, you know, when we trust, you know, when we step off the cliff, when we sort of like, when we step forward, the bridge will appear. And that innocence of following your, we don't know what's coming next. We don't need to know what's coming next. Sometimes the best thing we can do is we can take action without trying to figure it out, without trying to have all of the answers in front of us. The dog is instinct and is the part of us that is going to be able to give us a sense of guidance, that intuition of to where to go, and following and listening to it. And the Fool is ready to take that leap. Now, it's scary, but the benefit of the Fool is that the Fool is the Fool. So the Fool is willing to take a leap, is willing to take a risk without necessarily going down that rabbit hole of awfulization and going into all of that, oh my God, what is going to happen next? But the Fool card for me is always the start of a new beginning, a new possibility, and it's the invitation to treat life with a sense of childlike wonder and possibility, and to move forward with that openness and that willingness to take a risk. Sort of like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I try and I fall flat on my face. What's the worst thing that can happen? I go forward and I hit a wall, and then I turn left. And if it doesn't work that I turn left, I go back and I turn right. But it's all about that willingness to do it and to try and to explore. So that is the Fool card. Now, Tabby had gotten the Star, and so I'm not going to go back into that because I kind of channeled an answer for the Star a little bit earlier, and really, like, I mean, I gotta say, I was kind of on fire there. So I'm not going to bother talking about the Star. So Tabby, if you are watching this, you probably saw it before anyway. And Tess had gotten the back of the card, and as did Wendy. And so the back of the card, I just think it's sort of it. For one thing, it's like that song, who was it? Oh God, I think that God has a sixth sense of humor. Wendy, if you're still here, I know you know your 80s songs. What is that song? Anyway, it's that the back of the card is just like, haha, you think you want an answer? You think you want to know? You're not ready, you know, or as Jack Nicholson would say, you can't handle the truth. But it really is about, you have as much on your plate as you can possibly handle right now. You have everything that you need right now. And to give you any more information would be to confuse the matter. So just keep on going. Keep your head down and keep one foot in front of the other, and just keep doing what you're doing and keep moving on. So that would be what I would say with the back of that card. Kimberly Roberts Pendergrass got the Four of Pentacles. And in my personal experience, the Four of Pentacles is about attempting to micromanage everything. And I will admit that I am the model for this particular card because I'm a Capricorn. And if there is one thing that I have learned about over and over and over and over again, it is the attempt to control everything and the idea that somehow I can figure this shit out on my own. And so the Four of Pentacles is about when we have enough resources to actually get our needs met, but we are so afraid of letting them go that we are not able to use them. So if you look at this, and I am wearing the monkey mask, which is that idea of the monkey mind that is telling us all these stories about the way the universe is going to unfold. And you can see she's got a bag of groceries like between her legs. She's got 2 bags of groceries clenched in her arms. She's got another bag of groceries balanced on her head. And she is just trying to keep everything afloat. And the thing is, everything that she wants, but she's not able to access it because she's trying to protect it. And so this is about sometimes we have to let things down. We need to let things go in order to be able to use the resources that we have available, that we need to trust that this is a safe universe, and that if we put something down, that it's not going to run away from us, but that we can put things down, we can use our resources in time, but also that we need to be able to use our resources how would I say this? We need to be able to use our resources so that we can actually grow things. It's that idea of investment. So this card is a lot about also take the risk of making the investment in what matters to you in order to grow things bigger. And an example of this would be my dear friend Britt from Britt Bolnick in Arms Coaching just sent out a mailing list the other day, actually earlier today, about our friend Charlotte Blake's Plank Challenge, which is happening next week. And Britt was talking about how when she first met Charlotte, she needed to do some work with Charlotte, and Charlotte offered to do work with her. But at the time, Britt was very, very broke. She was a single mom. She had very little resources, but she was just starting a new business and she was really struggling. And she knew that in order for her to go beyond what she was stuck at, she was going to have to make the decision to suck it up and use her resources and invest in working with Charlotte in order to be able to get unstuck and to be able to move forward. So if she was staying in that scarcity mindset that was saying, oh my God, you better hold on to everything you got because that's all you're ever going to have, she probably would never have taken that risk to invest in herself with Charlotte's program, and she would have stayed stuck. But instead, she took this huge leap of faith. She spent more money than she had ever spent on like on this fitness person in her life, and it was life-changing for her. I can tell you they became best friends, and both of them have done amazing things with their business because both of them are willing to invest and willing to put their money where their mouth is, and also to take those risks of, in order to grow something bigger, sometimes I need to loosen my grip on what I've got. So the Four of Pentacles is a card I love, and it is very much a reminder of, look, buddy, you got it, you need to use it. So Diana got the Devil card. I spoke a lot about the Devil card. The other thing about the Devil card is that the Devil card can come up when we are dealing with people who are not speaking the truth to us, and when we are in situations where there is misrepresentation and lack of truth. And one of the things about the Devil card that is so incredibly important is when we know in our gut what something is, it's really important for us to trust our truth and to trust our gut, especially when somebody is saying something that does not compute, that feels like they're full of it, that maybe they are not telling us what's what. And instead of getting into that people pleasing and that part of us that wants to like acquiesce and agree with them because we just don't want to rock the boat. Really knowing when we recognize that something smells fishy, acknowledging it and calling a spade a spade. So that's the other piece of the devil card, is sometimes the devil card is about when a liar is in our midst and we need to acknowledge the fact that it is what it is and not try to pretend or make nice. Yeah. Oh, and Karini, maybe that just gave you a piece of information since you had gotten that too. So Tiffany Litchfield Kite had gotten Ace of Pentacles, manifestation, and that was a card that I've spoken about greatly. I think it is Karis or Saris Williams what got generosity, which is the Six of Pentacles. And in my personal opinion, the Six of Pentacles, which is known as the wealth or prosperity card in most of the traditional decks, the idea behind this is when we give and receive, that there is this process of reciprocity, and that in order for us to really keep the energy of prosperity and abundance flowing in the universe, it is essential that we not only wait to receive, but we also give generously. And so the question would be for you to think about, what are you better at? Are you better at receiving or are you better at giving? And whatever area is where you may be having a hard time, I would say start cultivating that part of yourself. If you are giving and giving and giving, but you have a hard time receiving, then allow other people to be generous to you and let yourself receive that support from other people. And if you are somebody who tends to be more inclined to receive a lot and get a lot or take a lot, then maybe it's time to cultivate some gratitude and gifting, and really, who can you reach out to? Who can you give something to? I am a really big fan of doing like 30-day gifting challenges or 21-day gifting challenges, where every single day for like 21 days or even 30 days, you give a gift to at least one person. It could be something as simple as paying their parking meter or buying a bouquet of roses and giving roses to a whole bunch of people. Love you too, Karini. Have a good night. I'll catch up with you later. But you know that, like, it doesn't have to be a huge gift. It could be a letter. It could be like a shout out, video shout out for somebody that you adore, that you just record a video and put it on their Facebook wall. But it's about that cultivating of generosity in order to prime the pump for prosperity and abundance, and having a sense of the deep abundance of this universe. So it's a great card to get. Very wonderful card, and a card that's saying good things are coming into your life. Meg Comer got Fortune, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune is very much about, are you going to be buffeted by the winds of change, and are you going to keep trying to like micromanage the shit out of everything? Or are you going to sort of find your are you going to turn into that sort of divine connection and go inwards to that center and sort of let the world kind of spin around you without being pulled in a million different directions? Because the Wheel of Fortune, if you're on the outside of the wheel, you can get easily crushed by it. But when you move into the center of the wheel, which is where your heart and your divine connection is, then the wheel just keeps spinning around you and it's all good. You're great. And so it's really about, because it takes an incredible amount of effort to stay on the top of the wheel. You have to put an incredible amount of exertion in keeping yourself aloft or up on the top of it if you are on the outside. But if you go down into that center, go into your heart and really work on cultivating that divine connection, cultivating that creative spark, and cultivating that deep stillness within, then we can just let the world continue to flow around us. And also we can wait and watch to see where the opportunities are, where the doors or the, sort of like, it's almost as if you thought about this as like this wheel that keeps on turning, and at times doors open. And if you're standing on the outside of it, kind of waiting for it to happen to you, you're going to miss opportunities. But if you sit in the center and watch with alertness and sort of just anticipation of when it is going to be time to take action, eventually the universe will sort of align itself and the path will become clear. So that is my answer for today about the Wheel of Fortune. Now, Hannah Kirk got the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles is the card of, I find it to be the card of isolation. I think it comes up a lot when we think we have to do it on our own, when we are, especially if we're living in a place where we don't know if there's community that will welcome us for who we are and how we are. You know, this is a church window and there are all kinds of people on the inside. The light is shining and the person is on the outside of it. And so it's very much about, are you going to try to do this all on your own, or are you going to take that risk to find a place where you are welcome and go in those doors? Because, you know, and it's also about the stories we tell ourselves about whether we'll be judged, whether we'll be welcomed, whether we're going to be accepted. And in my personal experience, more often than not, it is the stories I'm telling myself about how somebody's going to perceive me that affects me, not the real truth of how somebody perceives me. That it's all about the limitations I'm placing on myself. And when I take a risk and I go and bring myself to a place where there is community, more often than not, it is a wonderful experience. And if it's not a wonderful experience, then I get the hell out of Dodge. But this is very much a card of saying, you know, it's time to find connection. It's time to find community. It's time to ask for help. And if the community that you've been connected to is not serving your needs, then start praying for guidance to find something that's going to work better for you. So, Five of Pentacles. God, this is a marathon, huh? Okay, so Ace of Pentacles has happened before. I'm just going to look and see how many more cards I've got, because I am honestly starting to get a little worn down and this video is starting to get a bit long. Does anybody who is watching have any questions or a card that you would like me to interpret for you? Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back around to the rest of the cards, and I'm going to do another live video tomorrow evening to continue and answer some more of these questions and answer some more of these, just because I don't want this to be like a 3-hour long video. So right now, yeah, there's like a bunch of them. And the good news is that there is a certain point at which this will be done, because there are only 78 cards. So I will be over those. Awesome. Hey there, Lynn. So integrity, Three of Swords. So I love the Three of Swords. It's another one of those cards. So the traditional meaning of the Three of Swords is all about love triangles, infidelity and love triangles, and the fact that people are being torn between sort of different possibilities. And old school way of interpreting it was that it was like, somebody's having an affair. But the way that I really look at this particular card is that it's about all of the ways that we try to people please, that we try to meet other people's needs, that we get caught in trying to accommodate all kinds of different ideas. Sometimes, oh, Wendy, you are so incredibly welcome. It is always a pleasure to spend time with you in this virtual world, and it has been such a joy. So I will get back to just talking a little bit about the integrity card. So each sword represents a thought, an idea, in some ways an impulse. And I see this as like there are these two swords that are just pulling this heart apart, that are piercing it with like opposing desires, opposing ideas. It may be that you have one family member or one person who wants you to do one thing, you've got another person who's wanting you to do another thing, and one person saying this is what you should be doing and another person saying this is what you should be doing, and then you've got this other sword that's kind of running down the center, which is like, what is your own personal truth? And this card, I think, is really about recognizing what is the true, what is really going on for you, and finding the integrity of your own voice. But also, when I created this card, this tarot card, I used a cake, and I had written forever on it because it was kind of about that idea of all of the romantic illusions that we have about the way the world is supposed to work, and how those illusions do not serve us. Those illusions so frequently get us bogged down, because especially when it comes to that idea of, I need to stick with this forever, I need to do whatever it takes to make this work, this idea of trying so hard to force an outcome, and often denying what the truth is of our own true self, our true nature, our true heart, what is really going on for us. And so I really see this card as being about pulling out the swords of other people's opinions of us, other people's ideas of what they think we should be doing. Maybe if we are caught in a love triangle where we are loving more than one person, just really listening, pulling out everybody else's ideas and thoughts and opinions and the energy that they're putting towards us about what we want, and going back to our truth, going back to our heart, and really listening to what is the real thing that we need, that we want. If we're really going to admit, not try to pretend something is some way, or try to make it be something because it's what we want it to be, but really admit what is going on for us. The Three of Swords is really saying, own it. Own that integrity of what your real truth is. So that is the Three of Swords. So at this point in time, because I can see I have a million other cards on that thing, at this point in time, I am going to stop reading these cards for now, and I am going to sign off. But first, I will tell you that I'm going to put a couple links in this video below, so that if you're interested in purchasing prints, you can access prints for this tarot deck. And also, if you're interested in learning more about where you fall on the empathy spectrum, go to empathicwoman.com. And also, if you're interested in talking with me about getting an actual reading, I would love to hear from you. And you can go over to my website, modernmedicinelady.com, click on the Work With Me section, and then in the comments with anything else Jen needs to know, send me a message that you're interested in getting a reading from me. So Lynn, I'm so glad that was spot on, and blessed be back to you. I'm glad that it made sense for you. It was a pleasure to share that with you and read for you, and I am so glad that all of you showed up tonight. It has been a blast having everybody here and getting to read cards and getting to talk to you about tarot. As you can probably tell, I freaking love tarot. I have an incredible passion for it. I've been reading cards since I was 18 years old. I'm like, it's been a long time, I'll just say that. And I find them to be an incredible, powerful teacher about how to look at our life and how to maybe think about doing things in a different way. So until I see you again, I will be popping in tomorrow and doing another one of these Facebook Lives to go in and talk about a whole bunch of other cards and sharing all that with you guys. So please share this video, pass the word, let people know that I'm going to be doing it. And also, I would be so grateful for you to hit the share button on the actual tarot video for the Healing Tarot deck so that people can get access to the deck themselves. They can do a screen capture and they can be part of this, and they can start learning about what's important for them right now. So until tomorrow, I just wish you a wonderful evening. It has been such a delight seeing all of you tonight. And again, if you want to learn where you fall on the empathy spectrum, then go to my website, empathicwoman.com, and take my What's Your Empathic Type quiz. Although, actually, I think Quizzer is down for about 2 hours, but so hopefully it will be up by the time you see this again. And if you're interested in learning more about getting a reading from me, then please go to modernmedicinelady.com, go click on the Work With Me page and answer a couple questions. Let me know you're interested in a reading, and we can go from there. So, look forward to talking to you soon, and I wish you the best of the best of the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.